Hello, my friend. I hope you're living your most fearless life. If you're new to this channel, my name is Minnie Mac, and welcome to part 1 of 2 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. I basically just give what I feel like is the meat and potatoes, if you will, of a book. If you're a returning viewer, thank you ever so much for liking and subscribing. If you guys really like the video, commenting helps the algorithm a lot. It helps me a lot. I really appreciate your support. Let's get started in chapter 1, The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. The effects of small habits compound over time. For example, if you can get just 1% better each day, you'll end up with results that are nearly 37 times better after 1 year. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. Success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. If you want to predict where you'll end up in life, all you have to do is follow the curve of tiny gains or losses and see how your daily choices will compound over 10 or 20 years down the line. Are you spending less than you earn each month? Are you making it into the gym each week? Are you reading books and learning something new each day? Tiny battles like these are ones that will define your future self. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Mastery requires patience. We often expect progress to be linear. At the very least, we hope it will come quickly. In reality, the results of our efforts are often delayed. It is not until months or years later that we realize the true value of the previous work we have done. This can result in a valley of disappointment, where people feel discouraged after putting in weeks or months of hard work without experiencing any results. However, this work was not wasted. It was simply being stored. It is not until much later that the full value of the previous effort is revealed. Keep in mind, too, that goals and systems are not the same thing. The purpose of setting a goal is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. True long-term thinking is not goalless thinking. It's not about any single accomplishment. It's about the cycle of endless refinement and continuous improvement. Ultimately, it's your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. Chapter 2, How Your Habits Shape Your Identity and Vice Versa. There are 3 layers of behavior change: a change in your outcomes, a change in your progress, or a change in your identity. Outcomes: a change in your results, losing weight, publishing a book, winning a championship, etc. Most of the goals you set are associated with this level. Process: a change in your habits and systems, implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering your desk for better workflow, developing a meditation practice, etc. Identity: a change in your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgments about yourself and others. Outcomes are about what you get. Processes are about what you do. Identity is about what you believe. With outcome-based habits, the focus is on what you want to achieve. With identity-based habits, the focus is on who you wish to become. Simply put, for example, you may want more money, but if your identity is someone who consumes rather than creates, then you will continue to be pulled towards spending rather than earning. It's hard to change your habits if you never change the underlying beliefs that lead to your past behavior. You have a new goal and a plan, but you haven't changed who you are. True behavior change is identity change. You might start a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you'll stick with one is that it becomes part of your identity. Progress requires unlearning. Becoming the best version of yourself requires you to continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. Meaningful change does not require radical change. Small habits can make a meaningful difference by providing evidence of a new identity. And if a change is meaningful, it actually is big. That's the paradox of making small improvements. Your focus should always be on becoming a particular type of person, not on the outcome. The first step is not what or how, but who. You need to know who you want to be. Your identity emerges out of your habits. Every action is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Chapter 3. How to build better habits in 4 simple steps. Behaviors followed by satisfying consequences tend to be repeated, and those that produce unpleasant consequences are less likely to be repeated. All habits proceed through 4 stages in the same order: cue, craving, response, and reward. Cue triggers your brain to initiate a behavior, a bit of information that predicts the reward, something that catches your attention. Craving, the motivational force behind every habit. Response, the actual habit you perform, can be a thought or an action. Reward, the end goal of every habit. The 4 stages of habit are best described as feedback loop. They form an endless cycle that is running every moment you are alive. This habit loop is continuously scanning the environment, predicting what will happen next, trying out different responses, and learning from the result. The 4 laws of behavior change. 1. Make the cues obvious. 2. Make the craving attractive. 3. Make the response easy. 4. Make the reward satisfying. You can also invert these to break bad habits. Chapter 4. The Man Who Didn't Look Right. This is a good time to point out that I obviously leave a lot of these books out, including stories, and this one happened to be named after a story that I didn't care to write down. I just took down the meat and potatoes, as it were. So here we are, The Man Who Didn't Look Right. Over time, the cues that spark our habits can become so common that they are essentially invisible. For this reason, we must begin the process of behavior change with awareness. Before we can effectively form new habits, we need to get a handle on our current ones. If a habit remains mindless, you can't expect to improve it. As psychologist Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The Habits Scorecard. Make a list of your daily habits. Look at each behavior and ask yourself, is this a good habit, a bad habit, or a neutral habit? If it's a good habit, write a plus sign next to it. If it's bad, a minus sign. And if it's neutral, write an equal sign. Use questions like, does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be? Does this habit cast a vote for or against my desired identity? Categorize the habits based off of whether or not they will help you or hurt you in the long run. The goal here is purely observation without judgment or criticism. Don't blame yourself for your faults or praise yourself for your successes. Chapter 5. The best way to start a new habit. Habit stacking increases the likelihood that you'll stick with a habit by stacking your new behavior on top of an old one. This process can be repeated to chain numerous habits together, each one acting as the cue for the next. So with implementation intentions, you can use things like, I will blank behavior at blank time in blank location. After current habit, blank current habit, I will blank new habit. For example, because I'm still working on meditating, so now I'm using Atomic Habits to help me get better with my meditation practices. I will meditate for 10 minutes in my office is, just a regular intention statement, but then with habit stacking, After I have my morning coffee, I will meditate in my office for 10 minutes, but you have to be specific. The key is to tie your desired behavior into something you already do each day. Once you have mastered this basic structure, you can begin to create larger stacks by chaining small habits together. Choose cues highly specific and immediately actionable. No ambiguity. Be specific about how and when you'll act. Make it obvious and clear. Chapter 6. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. Behavior is a function of a person in their environment. Kurt Lewin. If you want behaviors that are stable and predictable, you need an environment that's stable and predictable. A stable environment where everything has a place and a purpose is an environment where habits can easily form. Small changes in context can lead to large changes in behavior over time. Every habit is initiated by a cue. We are more likely to notice cues that stand out. Make cues of good habits obvious in your environment. Gradually, your habits become associated with the entire context surrounding the behavior. The context becomes the cue. For example, I leave my bottle of vitamin B12 out in my face wherever I am, or I put it in my pocket when I'm going out. It's an obvious cue because I'm a vegetarian. I need to, take care of myself. But then it's like an extra cue when I see it in my room to eat healthier and be mindful of what I'm putting into my body, etc. Chapter 7. The secret to self-control. You can break a bad habit, but you are unlikely to forget it. That means simply resisting temptation is an ineffective strategy. It's short-term at best. Instead, reduce exposure to that cue or the causes of it. Rather than make it obvious, make it invisible. Optimize your environment. This is the secret of self-control. Make the cues of your good habits obvious and the cues of your bad habits invisible. Pretty self-explanatory. Chapter 8. How to make a habit irresistible. Dopamine provides a window into the biological underpinnings of desire, craving, and motivation that are behind every habit. The more attractive an opportunity is, the more likely it is to become habit-forming. Before a habit is learned, A, dopamine is released when the reward is experienced for the first time. The next time around, B, dopamine rises before taking action immediately after a cue is recognized. This spike leads to a feeling of desire and a craving to take action whenever the cue is spotted. Once a habit is learned, dopamine will not rise when a reward is experienced because you already expect the reward. However, if you see a cue and expect a reward but do not get one, then dopamine will drop in disappointment. C. This sensitivity of dopamine response can clearly be seen when a reward is provided late. D. The first cue is identified and dopamine rises as a craving builds. Next, a response is taken, but the reward does not come as quickly as expected and begins to drop. Finally, when the reward comes a little later than you had hoped, dopamine spikes again. It's as if the brain is saying, "See, I knew I was right." Don't forget to repeat this action next time. When it comes to habits, the key takeaway is this. Dopamine is not only released when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. It is the anticipation of the reward, not the fulfillment, that gets us to take action. Desire is the engine that drives behavior. Temptation bundling. Linking an action you want to do with one you need to do. You can combine habit stacking with temptation bundling. An example looks like, I will meditate for 10 minutes in my office after my morning coffee. Then I will do yoga while listening to my tarot readings on YouTube. Chapter 9. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. One of the most effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. New habits seem achievable when you see others doing them every day. It's helpful too if you already have something in common with this group. Shared identity reinforces personal identity, and it's crucial in maintaining habits. The culture we live in determines which behaviors are attractive to us. We tend to adopt the habits that are praised and approved of by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. We tend to imitate the habits of three social groups: the close, family and friends; the many, the tribe; and the powerful, those with status and prestige. Normal behavior of the tribe often overpowers desired behavior of the individual. Most days we'd rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. If behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we will find it attractive. So choose your people wisely. Finally, for this video, Chapter 10, how to find and fix the causes of your bad habits. Don't look at breaking a bad habit as if you'll lose something. Rather, pay attention to everything you'll gain. The specific cravings you feel and the habits you perform are really an attempt to address your fundamental underlying motives. Reframing your habits to highlight their benefits rather than their drawbacks is a fast and lightweight way to reprogram your mind and make a habit seem more attractive. For example, when practicing meditating, instead of being frustrated by distractions, be grateful for the opportunity to practice getting better at meditating. Create a motivational ritual. Associate your habits with something that you already enjoy and use that as a cue whenever you need a little bit of motivation. Remember that the inversion of the second law of behavior change is make it unattractive. Every behavior has a surface level craving and a deeper underlying motive. Your habits are modern day solutions to ancient desires. The cause of your habits is actually the prediction that precedes them. This prediction leads to a feeling. Highlight the benefits of avoiding a bad habit to make it seem unattractive. So I'm going to leave off there for part 1. Thank you ever so much for following along. If there are any books you'd like me to review or subjects you'd like me to touch on, let me know in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to do so. Wishing you peace, love, and light. Until next Sunday, bye for now.